back to Yeesh Deck Building. I am your host, Demo, and we're getting Lost Caverns of Ixalan spoilers now, so I guess I should probably talk about them as I like to do. I start with the legendary creatures because those are the ones that are typically going to be the most impactful in the Commander format. So let's get right to it, starting out with the MCO Tyrant. 1 black and a green Elder Fungus. That's an interesting creature type we've never seen before. I mean, of course, we've seen Elder and we've seen Fungus. Never combined like this, though. The MCO Tyrant's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control that are fungi and or saprolings. Okay, so we're combining the two now, which I guess there's going to be the people out there that are like, finally, I can do that fungus slash saproling deck that I've been wanting to make because, of course, I don't know how many cards there are. There is a little bit of crossover with the saprolings. I know there are some fungi that make saprolings, I think, when they get the counters on them, right? We got another ability here, though, which is likely the one you're going to more want to build around, I think. At the beginning of your end step, create X11 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can't block, where X is the number of times you descended this turn. I mean, first of all, your commander is just making itself bigger, which is pretty incredible. It's got trample, so that's going to be an easy way to close out the game. So all you need, really all you need to do in this deck is just do this descend thing, whatever that is, as much as you can. So what is descending? You descend each time a permanent card is put into your graveyard from anywhere. Wow, that's very interesting. You know what that kind of reminds me of, funny enough, is Gravestorm. I wonder if they're sort of revisiting it. I mean, Gravestorm it's similar. It's one of those old Bitter Ordeal is the only card in existence that has it. It's one of those one shots from Future Sight. They never actually revisited it. It is very similar to this. I mean, I think Gravestorm is permanence from the battlefield, and I think it's any player. This is similar. It's sort of like the revisiting in here a little bit, which is kind of neat. Obviously, this is a permanent card in your graveyard. So it's got to be your graveyard. It's only permanents. I mean, there's only 3, so you can get going pretty quick, right? Just, I play this guy, crack a fetch land, or a couple fetch lands, hopefully, play this guy, and then on the end step, I get, I start cranking out those tokens right away. So you can really go to town fast with this guy. He's pretty powerful, I think. I like that descend ability. All right, next up, we got Vito, Fanatic of Aclazotz. I almost said Alcatraz. Aclazotz. Aclazotz. Oh boy. I'm going to have trouble with this set, I think. Okay, Fanatic of Aclazotz. I keep seeing Alcatraz when I look at that word. I don't know why. Okay, 2 white and a black vampire demon. Vampire demon. Have we had a vampire demon? It's an interesting creature type for sure. It's a 4/4 with flying whenever you sacrifice another permanent. Okay, so already, I mean, sacrificing a permanent. Corvold, anyone, right? That's not hard to do. That is a powerful effect to build around. You gain 2 life. Okay. If this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn. Okay. I'm trying to stay positive here that we don't have another Corvold on our hands. If it's the second time each opponent loses 2 life, it's not getting any better. If it's the third time, create a 4/3 white and black vampire. Wow. So I guess the upside here, okay, I mean, this seems really good. Again, this is permanent, guys. So this, again, just like with Corvold, where it's, my Evolving Wilds, I get a trigger. My treasure token, I get a trigger. It's super easy to get this trigger off your commander. And it's first time this ability has resolved this turn. So that means I sack my fetch land on my turn. And I mean, you could very easily make a treasure token deck here. I sacrifice a treasure token on my turn and get 2 life. Like there's the limit of 3 here. So I do this on my turn. I sacrifice 3 things. I gain 2 life. I drain each opponent. Not bad. Again, win con stapled on your commander. So you already have that blood artist effect built in. If you're doing a aristocrats theme here, the gain life, lose life thing is already built in here to this. So we might already be in a situation where this is, I don't know if I want to say this is the best aristocrats commander out there, but it's right up there. I mean, compare this to what's his face? Elias Ilkor, right? That guy very quickly became the go-to aristocrats commander. And is this guy better? I mean, you're gaining 2 life, draining your opponents for 2 life. So essentially, that is 2 Zulaport cutthroat effects, right? And again, remember, this is any permanent. Elias Elcor is only creatures. This is any permanent. I can use my lands. I can sack an Evolving Wilds, get this trigger. And again, I can do it on my opponent's turn. I'm covering a lot and I'm bouncing around here. I can do it on my opponent's turn, right? So I use up my 3 triggers on my turn. Then I save that treasure token or that fetch land or sacrifice. I just wait till the next turn and then I reload and I do it again. So if I can get 3 triggers a turn, every single turn I'm getting the drain 2, which is essentially the same, right? If I have a Zulaport Cutthroat, I sack 2 creatures, I gain 2 life and they lose 2 life. And the exact same is here. Sack 2 creatures, I gain 2 life, they lose 2 life. And then on top of that, I don't know if anyone thinks that getting a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token flying isn't better than a 3rd Zulaport Cutthroat trigger, but I think it is. That's damn good. And you could very easily set this up, again, with treasure tokens or things that are really easy to sacrifice. You could set this up so that you could just be cranking out those demon tokens. By the time you get around to your next turn, you got like an army of them. This guy's powerful. This guy is going to skyrocket in popularity. I guarantee it. He's going to be, my prediction is he's going to be one of the most popular black-white commanders in the entire format. I mean, outside of the fact that you could build around the token theme, you could build around the vampire and demon tribal. You could very easily throw both vampire and demon tribal in here, which of course there's plenty in these colors. You could do the life gain theme. You could just make a black-white life gain deck with this almost. There's so many directions here as well. Oh man. Yeah, one of the most popular black-white commanders in the format, I'm going to predict. Let's move on. Saheeli. So Saheeli is once again a creature. The Sun's Brilliance, blue and a red, human artificer, 2/2. Pay a blue and a red, and tap. I'm guessing this has something to do with artifacts. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature or artifact you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. That's very interesting. Yeah, so not super surprising what's happening here. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature or artifact you control. Okay, so you can create a token of an artifact. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is going to be real popular. It seems pretty good. There's a lot you can do with it, but I thought that about Thanos and nobody plays that guy. You could do a lot of neat things here with the tokens, but also, of course, you can copy the creature that is then an artifact. And that can be a downside, making a copy of a creature that is now an artifact because it's easier to kill. But there's a lot of upside there as well, because now things that would normally apply to artifacts apply to like a Brutaclad would be fantastic in this deck. Really fantastic. And this would be fantastic in a Brutaclad deck, because now you can just create a token copy of any creature. I mean, just 2 mana, create a token copy of any creature you control. I mean, you have to sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step, but man, I have any creature with a decent ETB, 2 mana, make a token copy of it, right? Over and over and over again. Seems pretty good, right? Sad Robot, there you go. 2 mana, make a Sad Robot, go get a land, put it into play. It gets sacked on the end step, and I get to draw a card. That's incredible value, right? This is sort of like the blue-red version of Feldon a little bit. Very similar to Feldon. Feldon's copying creatures in your graveyard, which there are some advantages to that because then you can just discard. Here, you can't do that, but you can. There's advantages to copying creatures in play as well, because then you don't have to do this discarding. You just play your creatures like you normally would. I just play my Sad Robot like I normally would, and then I can start copying it and getting tons of value. So really good value, Commander. I'm sure there's some neat combo situations you can get into here as well. All right, let's talk about Abuelo, Ancestral Echo. 1 white and a blue spirit, 2/2. Flying Ward 2. Pay 1 white and a blue. Exile another target creature or artifact you control. Return it to the battlefield under its own control at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, well, not much to talk. I mean, we got a white-blue blink commander, which we already have. I mean, we got Brago, which is the best one, and still probably way better than this if you're going to be doing white-blue blinking, because Brago gets any permanent, and it's very easy to, you just get in for damage, and you can just pick a whole bunch of stuff. This is way more mana-intensive. It still is an option, not a great one. I mean, white-blue are definitely the best colors for this, but this is mana intensive. I mean, You can do it more than once. I'm sure there's some shenanigans you could get into here, maybe, because you don't have to, like with a rune, you'd have to tap him. So you can only really do him once a turn. So here, there is the possibility to do it more, but man, and now you're paying 6 mana to exile another target creature or artifact. I mean, you can put a training grounds in here to reduce it a little, but yeah, it's not great. It's not exciting, certainly. We've already got commanders that do a lot of this kind of stuff, right? Moving on. And we got another Admiral Beckett Brass, except this time it's just Admiral Brass, Unsinkable, 2 blue, black, and a red. Human pirate, of course. 3/3. When Admiral Brass, Unsinkable, enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards. Okay? At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may return target pirate creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Another new mechanic that I'm not familiar with. It has base power and toughness 4/4. And it gains haste until end of turn. So you're making your creatures likely bigger. I don't think there's a whole lot of pirates that are bigger than 4/4, so you're likely making them bigger. You know, I don't know if there's any pirates that do like they care about the amount of damage they're doing, or they care about how big they are. Like the Cold-Eyed Selkie thing I always bring up, which is not a pirate, but I always bring that up in situations like this, where that's a good, I bring that guy back from the graveyard. Now it's a 4/4 and it's that many, you know, you draw that many cards equal to the damage it's dealt. So yeah, you can just, I mean, is there creatures like that are pirates? I mean, you could get into some shenanigans here, as you always can. Maskwood Nexus or, you know, Ashes of the Fallen would work here, right? Where you just turn all your creatures cards in your graveyard into pirates, and then return target pirate creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So now you get to pick anything. So you could definitely do that. What's a finality counter? If a creature with a finality counter on it would die, exile it instead. Okay. So they probably are, they probably are now going to integrate that into the game of Magic. Again, this is something we've seen a ton. You see it with Unearth. You see it with Isareth the Awakener. That would be funny if I don't know if, they're probably not going to, but they could definitely errata Isareth the Awakener instead of a corpse counter, which actually doesn't even do anything. They could just change that to finality counter and then leave out the part about exiling, because that's what a finality counter does. Except here, if a creature with a finality counter would die, exile, here you can actually get around it. So I guess with Isareth, you can't get around it. Removing the corpse counter does nothing. Here it does. If you remove the finality counter, because it's just a counter sitting on your creature. If a creature with a finality counter would die, exile instead. So if we power conduit, right? There's lots of ways to do this. That's why I talk about cards like that all the time. They can be really important in these situations, right? And in fact, you almost could throw a Chisei Heart of Oceans in this deck. Probably almost would be worth it, because you're going to be reanimating a creature every single turn. And then on the following turn, you can just remove that finality counter from it with your Chisei. Unfortunately, he's not a pirate, but still, right? And then once the finality counter is gone, nothing, right? It's just a normal creature now. And if it would die, it goes back to your graveyard. So absolutely, you're going to want to be putting, power conduit, Chisei, Ferropede, throw it all those. Again, those are, I did my video a little while ago about these cards that do special things that I have cataloged in my brain for such situations like this. And there you go. There's all the off the top of my head, there's the 3 things that remove counters from stuff, in these colors anyway. I'm sure there's probably a couple other options as well, but you're definitely going to want to be doing that for sure. Power conduit, a slam dunk, because you just remove that counter and then you get to put a +1/+1 counter on something else, right? So absolute slam dunk in this deck. Yeah, really neat, really neat. I like this one. I mean, to be honest, I don't love the original one. Every time I played against it, everyone hated on it because it steals your stuff and nobody likes that, right? Thematically, it's neat. Like flavor-wise, that's what pirates do. They steal stuff, but it's just not a fun commander to play against. And I imagine it makes it unfun for everyone else because they don't get to do their thing because everyone's always trying to stop them because everyone hates having their stuff stolen in the commander format. This is a much more interesting version of Admiral Brass, I think. I like it. All right, there you go, guys. We got 5 new commanders from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Let me know in the comments below what you think of them. I think we got some interesting ones here. That's it for today, though, and thanks for tuning in.